There's a sequence, there's a code, there's a combination. And when you get the right combination, it unlocks everything for us. What is up? What's up, man?
What's up?
How are you?
Man, I'm good, brother. How are you?
Doing good, man. Appreciate you jumping in. I know you had to navigate with the cleaning people.
I'm glad to be here. I'd rather be here than at the house watching them clean.
For sure. Well, cool. Man, I know we've had you on a couple different times previous, different kind of themes that we've been talking about, but definitely wanted to bring you back in. And, there's been just some really cool stuff happening with you guys, but I really wanted to jump in with you, especially starting out talking down the road. I think what's really cool for you is getting real clear kind of on the bigger picture, getting real clear on, where you want to be spending most of your time and all of the things that we've been working on and all the things we've been doing to move in that known direction. And I just think it's just really cool. That bigger vision that you're really in pursuit of. Definitely want to talk to you about that a little bit more.
Sounds good. Well, I can tell you that, the biggest thing was getting clear on my business and understanding, when you and I first started working together, the first thing you said was know your numbers. And I did not know my numbers. And without being able to, the only number I knew was, oh crap, the bank account's empty. I need to go sell more. That was my numbers strategy. And so now I've got a clear understanding of where the monies go, what profitability looks like. Every time we make a move inside of our business, I can gauge that. Well, what that's done is I've got dreams and goals and visions of where I want to go and what I want to do. And in order for me to be able to step out of what I'm doing now and move to that next phase, I've got to know numbers. I've got to understand my business, and the person that's going to step in my role, I can't hand them something that's broken. So that's the first level of what we're talking about. And just being able to see that vision. And I texted the team last night. I'm like, hey guys, just so you know, we broke January's record. If all these closings stick, we're going to break February's record by a considerable amount, and March. And I can literally watch the rocket ship take off in real time. So when you've got that much control over your business, it really helps. And you've said something to me several times, and it really stuck is, what you see as your future is your current reality. And so you either get up, cloudy and just not knowing what the next step is, or you get up with a pretty solid vision. And that solid vision has been created by working with you and just getting my house in order in a way that I do feel like where I want to go and what I want to do is very achievable and very attainable. And so now everything I do is based on strategy. So how far into the future do you want me to go? Because I got big plans, man.
Yeah, I know. I want to talk about those. And I think it's really helpful for what you just shared is that, most real estate agents, 90, 97, 98%, I'd be willing to bet are, worried about their next commission check. They're not thinking 5-10 years down the road. So they're very reactive, right? There's so many agents in the market right now that are 100%, their business has been reactive on buyers, and they're suffering because, inventory is even lower than it was this time last year. And so, it's still a supply and demand game. And they're like, what do I do? What do I do? It's like, well, you need to develop a skill set to, know how to go get listings. And so when you don't know what it is that you're trying to accomplish, you don't know what those numbers are, you're not thinking in the future, you're just reactive to whatever the market is throwing at you. And today, it's not good to be reactive to what the market is throwing for most agents right now. So being able to have that bigger future and knowing what you're working towards now, it helps you in your leadership. It helps you in your decision-making process. You're just really doing those things. And, we can talk about the business, a little bit more and kind of some of the things that have really helped the exponential. But I want everybody to kind of get, and, within, kicking off our accelerator group coaching program, is this theme is around vision this month. And really when most people, they're trying to build their business, they don't factor in what they want for their life. And so one of the things that we were talking about during that, during the topic call was, are you committed? Or are you just compliant? And that's, are we setting goals worthy enough of commitment and being committed to? And so you look at most people, most agents, and Gene, you see this, it's just they're reactive. They're just kind of compliant to the business, and they don't take to heart what they want in, for them. What's their personal vision, and how is this business really built to help me support to accomplish what I want to accomplish personally? And so that's what I wanted to talk to you about, because I think you've got an amazing, what you want to accomplish, big picture outside of real estate. And, like you're driven to get there faster. And that's, one of the questions that we always ask: how can we go faster? How can we keep the train on the tracks, but how can we go faster? So yeah, I would love for you to share that big vision, for you personally, because then that just translates to, okay, well, what decisions do we need to be making with the business to help us get there faster?
Absolutely. So my big vision, we're at a place to where I've got a sophomore. My daughter's a sophomore in high school. My son just joined our real estate team. And so my wife and I are about to be in a place to where we're empty nesters. And so we talked several years ago, and we would love to own, 10 or more vacation properties all over the country. And part of our retirement is just taking care of those, renting those out. That's our income, that type of stuff. That's part of the vision. The other part of the vision is we love the Gulf Coast. We love that area. And I was a military guy. And so I want to start a ministry where I, not only do we own those properties, but I'm able to take vets out and take them out fishing and do some of those things. And so I want a fleet of fishing boats because I love offshore fishing. And I want to take folks fishing at least 100 days a year that never otherwise would maybe even get the chance to go or do something like that and pour into their life. So it's kind of two phases. The vacation properties allow us, passive income. They allow us places to go and enjoy, and they fuel the ministry and what I want to do. But to back up, I would never have been able to. It just sounded cool when I said it a couple years ago or 3 years ago. It sounded like a really cool thing, but I really couldn't quantify it. But once we got clear on our business and our strategy, we actually we're closing on our second vacation property next week. And it was because I understood our business. I understood the moves we make, the strategies we do, and could see the finances, and it allowed us to be able to do those type things. And it was straight through life by strategy. And the biggest thing, John, the biggest thing is coaching, man. You talk about collapsing time, and it sounds cliche, but it's not. I literally I was in business for 10 years before I was able to get in and be coached with you. And we literally took the lid off of what was kind of an ugly business. I mean, ugly as in, like I said, the numbers were, hey, if we're broke, go sell more. But now we operate on strategy. We're able to find niche markets within, because in real estate, what works today is not going to work 4 months from now, 6 months from now. But when you understand the foundations of your business, you're able to attack those niche markets, remain creative, and work toward that goal. And you can literally see it materializing in front of your eyes. And so all of a sudden, I wake up fired up as hell to go to work to get after it, because it's, like I said, it's something I can quantify. And before, it was just a cute conversation. It wasn't that was it,
Right.
But that's not the case now. And so that's huge for me.
It is huge. And, I hope everybody, kind of mentioned it, but then listening to Gene talk about it is that, man, it does become reactive, and, oh shit, the bank account's low. Let's go pedal faster. And instead of being more strategic, but you can't be strategic until you have a big vision. Otherwise you're just like I said, you're just being reactive. So I love that big vision, getting you down there. And it's such a because worthy cause. And what's awesome is that, and a lot of people will be like, man, do I share that? Do I share that with my team? Hell yeah, you share that with the team, because we're looking for people that have that shared vision, that want to support it, that buy into that cause, because now they're going to wake up fired, and they're going to go the extra, put in that extra, hit that extra gear, to see that come to reality, because they believe how powerful that is. And so I just think that when you have such a worthy cause, such a big vision for your life, and you're setting up things around you to support that and get you there faster. I mean, it just works, right? It's almost like magic. And you're like, what happened? Like, well, I mean, you got such a cause-worthy vision and purpose. People gravitate to that.
Well, and I think with what you said, used to, I couldn't see the Southern Realty Specialist team. I run a team. There's 30 of us now. I couldn't see anything past that. And when I thought, and if I just assumed that, hey, when I get tired of running this team, I'll just shut it down and go do something else, and didn't really realize what I was building. But you and I have started to have conversations about me not running the team and kind of moving to different phases in my real estate career. And so now I can see the team without me, and the team can see themselves without me too. And that was actually a goal, because they believe in the model, they believe in the foundations, they believe in our culture. And all of a sudden, it's not Gene Darden. It's Southern Realty Specialists is a collective body of people that kick ass on the daily, with or without me. And the business hasn't always been that way. And I don't think it would have been had I not be able to measure the next step and the next step and the next step. And there's always faults and failures and things that I do wrong that take us a few steps back. They happen daily.
Yeah.
But still having that clear vision of knowing that, it's kind of like that stock market thing you see. There's dips. But if you look at over time, it's still doing this,
Right.
And so being able to look backwards and understand where we were, where we've come from, and measure backwards, and then also see that what we really want to do is a reality going forward, and not feel like it's just me, is pretty cool. And so now when I decide to move into the next phase, I'll still be benefiting from this team. And I've already got somebody that I'm talking to about kind of stepping in my role. And they're excited about it too, but they're excited about it because we're kind of taking the blanket off of it, so you can see, hey, this is a good gig. So that's kind of a neat place to be. And I know it kind of sounds basic, but I just couldn't see it before,
Right.
and now I can.
So. Yeah, and before anybody else can see it, you've got to see it yourself, and that's that's so key. And you don't have to have it all figured out. You just kind of set a timeline, and the details will come. And that's the thing about, part of our vision is that big, hairy, audacious goal. You don't have to quite have it figured out yet. That's why you set it so, out in the future, because as we go through, the next 12 months, next 36 months, it starts to become more and more clear of how we're going to accomplish it. And then we're just always challenging ourselves, how can we go faster? How can we get there in half the time? And we think different, we behave different, and our results are different. So yeah, I just wanted to just kind of open up the conversation around that big vision. I just think it's so powerful, and there'll be just you speaking it out. People are going to gravitate to you because that they believe in that, right? They believe in you. They believe in that. That's something that they can get behind, something that they would support. And it's just, it really is why, you have to have a vision for your life, and then everything you do aligns to and helps in pursuit of that vision. And without a vision, the village will perish. And, we're not moving in a known direction. We're moving in more of a circular world. And now, where you're going, and you're letting everybody know where you're going, and they're going to be like, they're either going to want to be a part of it or they're not. And that's great, because that helps us look for our people. And that's all we want. We just want our people that believe in what we believe and want to help and be a part of what we're going to accomplish. So it's really, really cool. The other thing, Gene, and I would love for you to kind of unpack this, because when we started working together, we were single digits on the team, correct?
Yes.
And so almost 30 now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what has happened? And most people, listening in that will catch this as a real estate professional that have, desires to grow a team or not, because they're scared of what to do, or they failed. Like, what's worked so well to go from single digits to, almost 30 people in the organization right now?
Knowing numbers, protecting culture. And when the culture is the biggest part, and I don't actively recruit other agents to our team. And I know that sounds crazy. You're like, what? And I'm like, well, here's the flip side of it is I work really hard on the culture we do as a team collectively, and we view each other all as business partners. There's not really a hierarchy. There's a massive collaboration. And so every time one of our teammates gets a listing, has got one coming soon, overcoming, whatever the case is, there's a pile of us that jump in and stand in the gaps and either promote, help, whatever. So for us, there's so much collaboration and so much that we do together that permeates with what we do on social media, what we do out in the field, and people want a part of that. And so literally our growth has been from creating a culture that we don't let everybody in the door. I left my other company. The number one problem I had with the other company was quality. Their goal was to get as many people in the door so they could pay an office fee as they could. And on this team, we don't have that. Everybody on our team caps. We've got a couple of new agents, but they'll probably cap too once we get them to a certain point with coaching and standing in the gaps. But just having that culture and putting it on public display and not even really being that intentional about it, it's just there, is a big attractant to people. And then once they come on, having the ability to coach them to the next level, which is what I've learned from you, to the point where I didn't talk about the meat and the sandwich of that goal is my next move. And what I would like to do is coach agents. I would like to make the impact that you've made in my life is exponential. It's insane. And you and I have done it in less than 24 months. And you being able to create that vision and create that clarity and allow me to not have to guess what the next step is. I want to do that for other people too, because I spent 9 years guessing what the next step is. And I spent 3 years growing at light speed. Mm-hmm. So having a coach for me, protecting our culture, and then putting that out to everyone else has been the main recipe for our growth.
Yeah, 100%. And you said something at the beginning, collapse time. And I've shared that story, Malcolm Gladwell's, his 10,000 hour rule. If you guys aren't familiar with it, in his research and his findings was that it takes about on average 10,000 hours to master anything. And Robert Greene, author, 48 Laws of Power, so many other great books. He says there's only one thing that challenges the 10,000 hour rule, and that's coaching. And, he's seen and just, gives example after example of, a coach, something that can maybe take you 12,000 hours to master, a coach can get you there in 9. If it is going to take 10, coach can maybe get you there in 7. And you think about that for a second, just do the math. I mean, saving 1, 2, 3, 4,000 hours, like, holy shit. Right. And so that's the real power of having a coach, because a coach can collapse time and coach can get you into rooms that can help you collapse time. And I think that's what's been really cool with what we've done with Kitchen Table is really, it's just really amazing to see. And, we talk about it all the time, every quarter, the room gets better, and it's the same people. And it's like, because y'all are getting better. That's why the room is getting better, is because y'all are getting better, and y'all are helping each other collapse time. So it's so powerful. So that's just a great example to be able to then put into your team. I listened to, man, I'll be transparent. I was referred to this podcast to listen to. I've listened to one episode of it, but that one episode changed my whole perspective. And it's like, well, I got to dive back in, but I haven't. But they were talking to the 3 things that a CEO must do. And the number one thing was culture, right? So as leaders, as head of companies, my favorite title for CEO is head of common sense. So that's kind of like my fun title is chief legacy officer, but I'm also head of common sense. So our responsibility as head of company is, 1, to lead by example, 2, to set the vision, and then build the team. But within that, those are our functions. But what we have to do better than anything, culture, people, numbers. And so I look at what you're doing. You're nailing the culture, you're focused on your people, and your numbers. That's why you're having the exponential growth. And being able to go so fast is because of those 3 things. And so everybody listening in, if you're building an organization and you want to go faster, you've got to fight to protect the culture. So let's talk about that, Gene. What is culture? Culture is just a collection of our people. So how do you guys fight to protect that culture?
So a couple of things is one is if somebody wants to join the team, everybody has a say. We have a leadership team that interviews them. And then after 30 days, the entire team votes on whether they stay or not, just because we've built a tight group. And two is from a leadership standpoint, it's really important to me that everybody feels like there's no lid on their business. An example would be Scarlett's was my office manager and has been for 6 years. Well, that's a tough job for 6 years. But 2 years ago, I was like, you got to get your license. There's so much, you can be so much more. And
Mhm.
people are like, why in the world would you tell your office manager to get her license? Well, because I know that she had the skill set to go from 25 miles an hour to 100 and change her life because she's so good with people. And while she was amazing in how she served us as an office manager, there's so much more. And I treat everybody that way is I want to get the best out of you, not by pushing you, but by helping you discover who you are and who you can be. And so when somebody joins our team and they realize that we're all for them and we want them to have everything they could possibly have, and I don't want to put you in a box of, hey, you're a buyer's agent, you have to do this for my team and you're lucky to be here. It's more like, let's take the lid off. Let's find your gift zone and let's hone in on that and find your niche and let's get it.
Mm.
And no matter what, I'm not afraid of having to replace a Scarlett or having to do this or do that, because foundationally we've put things in place for that. But I just know that we're going to attract the right person because of how we treat everyone else. And so everybody that joins our team, the number one thing is do you want to grow? Are you interested in becoming a better version of yourself? And if the answer is no, they're probably not a good fit for us. And that's okay if the answer is no, but they're probably not a good fit for us. But what's created that culture is everybody on our team knows that there's another gear, there's another level, and they've got the freedom to operate within our organization and hit that next gear and that next level.
Mm.
And I tell people when they come on, I'm like, I got two goals. One is to give you so much value you'll never want to leave. Two is to give you so much value and knowledge that you can leave and build your own empire and kill it. Either one is a win for us. So it's really just not putting somebody in a cage. And I think one of your favorite comments was from Nipsey Hussle about the circle in the cage,
Mhm.
and we work really hard to not put somebody in a cage. So
Yeah, it really is. It's so powerful. So, as leaders creating and protecting and fighting that culture. And, it's just really, for me, it comes from, being real clear on the core values and making sure that we're bringing people in the organization that are of like-minded, right? Of the same value. And that's, what you said right there. And they know who we're looking for and who we're not. And that's okay. We're just looking for our people that believe what we believe and want to be in pursuit of what we're in pursuit of, and want to get better. I love that you don't put a lid on anybody's ability or opportunity to achieve what they want to achieve for themselves in their life and their career. And that's an amazing culture, right? When they come in there, they know that they can achieve so much more, and they're going to be pushed to achieve so much more. And so I think then that helps in the people that you're looking for, and really building that team. Um, the other cool thing that you shared with me, and this kind of breaks down to model. So let's talk about your business model just a little bit, Gene, because we had and this goes back to the proof of collaboration within your organization, because you threw it on the table that we could change things up a little bit. You don't provide leads for the agents, and we had wrestled back and forth, or what are we going to do? But the team spoke up. So I think this is powerful, to your point of the power of collaboration, that the freedom that they feel they have to protect the model in the direction, in the culture of the organization.
yep. So we do not provide leads. We don't have a massive marketing budget. I mean, we do marketing and we do those things you have to in real estate. Um, but I talk to so many teams that spend six figures on Zillow leads and all these other things,
Yeah.
and we operate more on a collab and growth and share experiences, share ideas, find your niche, find your strength, and teach you how to run with that. And what I've experienced with other teams is I'll have somebody that'll leave a team from another organization or whatnot, and they'll come to us and they were killing it, like they'd be a $5 or $6 million producer, but when they hit the point where they're tired of giving up 50% of their money, or whatever the case may be, or whatever the splits are on the other team, and then they step away from that team and they come to us and they suffer for 5 or 6 months. And the
Mhm.
reason is because they weren't taught how to build their business, build their empire, and create. They were just taught how to be a catcher for what was thrown at them. And so for me, I felt like for me, and there's great models and great there's teams killing it with leads. So I'm not knocking it, but for me, I couldn't sleep well at night not teaching them everything they needed to know and go out and do what they want to do. So man, our margins are slim. We take a really low split, probably the lowest one in our market. So the only way that we can survive is by being creative, being collaborative, and kicking ass with numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And we're doing it without leads. And so that's really it. So when I say everybody on our team caps, our model will not survive if they don't. And so like I said, we've always focused on quality. That's one of our core values, internally and externally. And we hone in on that daily because, like I said, we wouldn't survive otherwise. And so what's fun now is we focus on quality, but we're able to produce income and do things in other ways just from our collaboration and just from things that we've done and built inside the team that aren't even sales related. They're just things that we offer to the public, whether it be a class on onboarding or this or that. So we've generated other ways to be extremely profitable without taking a bunch of money from folks. And I think that's a big attraction because most agents, they don't, if they go as a single agent, they see the next step of hiring an assistant or whatnot as an expense. And not an asset. But when you plug into somebody that takes care of all that and helps you collab and helps you build your empire and just takes everything off of you except for your gift zone and your focus and your focus on production, then they can run at a whole nother level. So for me, I'm kind of talking in circles, but for me, man, it's just all about teaching and growing and production, but not like whip and post, like you got to produce this, but like, hey, let's teach you to build an empire your way and how you want to do it. And when you do that, everybody gets excited about it and they come to work because they chose what they wanted to do. All I do is hold them accountable for what they told me they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And that's really it. It's the magic bean is just collab and produce, man. So
that's it, man. Coach Burt, conversation earlier in the week, he talked about the 4 things that people will always buy. And you start to look at that and it's like, okay, how do I have that within my organization? And, one is they want ideas, right? They'll come to you because they feel like you have new ideas to help them accomplish what they're wanting to accomplish. So I think you check that box. The other is that they come done for you. You're going to do things for them. And so it's just like you said, you take a lot of the stuff that's not high dollar generating activities off of their plate so they can focus, like you said, on the things that really matter. They come for framework. They come for, structure. So you're able to give them, structure. It's collaborative structure. It's like, hey, do this, write things right order. And then the other thing that they come for is accountability. And, when I think, a lot of organizations can, be a couple or be one. But I mean, it feels like you check all 4 without providing leads. So they don't come in entitled. And that was the old school, carrot that we used to, we did it. We would dangle the carrots out there. Hey, we got leads. We got more leads than anybody. But, when they come in thinking that you're going to do that for them, I've always found you attract, people that are entitled. They feel they come in entitled instead of coming in committed. And, I want people that are committed. They're committed because they have goals worthy of committing to, and their goals align to our goals. And if they succeed, we succeed. And that's exactly what you're saying. And it's exactly what you're doing. So I just thought it was fantastic. We had that conversation, hey, we threw it on the table and they said, no, that's not who we are. Because we were going to have to mess with the compensation structure. And I remember Digital Marketer World, one of Ryan Dice's newsletters that came out. He talked about the ingredients for a winning organization. And he says it's 2 things. He said, have an incredible culture and pay your people a little bit better than what they could get in the marketplace. And if you nail those 2, he said, that's the secret sauce. He said, you just pay them. He said, just 5%. He said, even if you just pay them 5% more in the market and you have an incredible culture, you will attract the best talent, the best people. And I was like, damn, got it. So yeah. That's always been one of the things that I've followed as fight for the culture and then make sure you take care of your people.
And it's, and you talked about paying a little more, and when you're kind of starting to build, I mean, those margins, man, whew, we it'll make you sweat a little bit. But there's a point where that foundationally you go from here and just small upticks to there.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and we're starting to experience that. And a big part of it is there's some opportunities that have come across our place from being in the room and the culture you created at Kitchen Table, and being able to collab with people across the country. And then all of a sudden you start opening up doors to people that want to help you just because they want to help you and they meet you. And I kind of had imposter syndrome, man, because some of the people that have wanted me to talk to them, wanted me to coach them, wanted me to help them, wanted me to manage opportunities in my market that they couldn't manage. Just blows my mind. And what I've found is the skill set that you've given me has allowed me to take on more and more opportunities and bigger opportunities and stretch my boundaries past the Alabama borders. And honestly, what it was before was just, it was before I was coached, it was an ego thing, man. I was doing 20 million a year by myself, making decent money. But every time I woke up, and if it was 2021 to 2022, when I woke up January 1st, 2022, what was I going to do? What did my future look like? It was, well, I'm gonna sell about 10 more houses this year, and maybe we'll get a little bit further, and that
Uh-huh.
sucks, bro. but but that
Yeah.
changed, and it was a maturity level and ego thing, and and when I let go of that and let other people pour into me, we started collapsing time. And so I always had the vision, I always knew I wanted the quality piece, but I didn't know how to get there. Now I do. So
Yeah. It's so cool. Yeah. And it's, you look at, the 4 C's process, Dan Sullivan's 4 C's process is that, once you know what you want and it's worthy enough to commit, you commit. And then, you got to have the courage to stay in the fight. And I read something yesterday that talked about that. And that's really, when you have a vision, it takes the courage to stay in there when you're when the arrows are hitting you, and it's just to stay in the fight. And then, you develop the capabilities. So for you, developing the leadership capabilities, of really running an organization with more than, a handful of people. And then, you start to get those wins and you build that confidence. And you said something about imposter syndrome, and I think a lot that creeps in for a lot of people, because it's the opposite, right? It's imposter syndrome, or it's the armchair quarterback. In I gave you guys that book at Kitchen Table, Think Again, with Adam Grant, and he talks about, the difference, right? And the armchair quarterback, his his arrogance, because I love how Tim Grover puts the difference between arrogance and confidence is simply, it's the same, except for confidence, people win, they get results. Arrogant people just talk, they don't get results. So that's why Adam says, hey, their confidence is high, but their competence is low. And I would say, man, I don't know if their confidence is high. I'm going to say their arrogance is high. And then on the other end of the spectrum with the imposter syndrome, it's that, that we just haven't had enough wins or acknowledge the wins, maybe in the gap too much, not living in the gain. And so we don't acknowledge those wins, and our confidence is real low, but our competence is high. And he said the one distinguishing factor that allows us to balance that out is humility. And that's why you look at what we're always in search for our team, but also we need to make sure we're searching that for ourselves, is the hungry, the humble, right? Having that humility to be coachable, to just know, hey man, we don't have it all figured out, but we're committed to getting a little bit better every day.
You're right. And I'd equate coaching, if you get a good coach like John Kitchens, I would equate coaching to, it's kind of like, if if you could, like, everybody says, if I'd just known about Bitcoin in 2010 or 2012 or whatever it was, when it was, 50 cents and some dude paid for a pizza with Bitcoin, and now that dude's a millionaire or whatever. I'm sure everybody's heard that story.
Right.
But what coaching has done for me is it's given me that 2010 I know about Bitcoin thing, meaning I got the secret sauce now, because somebody's telling me what the next step is and what the next step is and what the next step is. So everybody's like, man, I wish I'd have knew about the stock market or the housing change or when this was going to fall or when this was going to rise. That's what coaching does for you. It gives you that secret sauce for the next step and the next step and the next step without you having to guess.
Mhm.
And I think just getting to a place to where I was okay with that. Number one, that I was okay with somebody feeling they would take me in, and number two, that there was so much more I could learn. That was huge, and it was, you said there's a code and a sequence to everything,
Mhm.
and there is, and it's cool to be able to be in a place where you realize that, and all that does is make me want to go deeper and deeper and get better and better, because it's exciting, it's exhilarating, it's like I said, I always say take the lid off. That's what it's done.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty cool experience. So
So cool. Yeah, man, it's exciting. And just in the short time of how much it's grown, how much you've grown. And I think that's a direct correlation, everybody listening in, if you really want to accelerate your business is only elastic to, I believe, your leadership capacity. So if you have a constraint on your leadership capabilities, then that's the constraint in your organization. And so the more you can expand those leadership capabilities within yourself, your business is going to expand as well. And so it's like I said, you can't coach or lead another human until you can coach and lead yourself first.
mhm.
And we all, it's constantly learning, right? We're constantly getting better. And it's the juggle of, the three happiness bucket, the happiness triad, all the health, wealth, and relationships. It's navigating, those things. And, we see it. I mean, you've seen it, so agents get so fixated on their business. They, their health suffers, their relationships suffer. And then, they have to take their foot off of the business pedal, and then they're focused back on their health because they have to, or, they go focus on the relationships. And so it's really important to, be able to expand yourself in all three of those areas to not necessarily maintain a balance, but maintain a balance of trying to get both of those to the highest level that we can. And yeah, it just takes effort. And that's where I think a lot of people shy off, because it takes work, it takes effort.
Yeah, and putting yourself in a room, like I'll give a good example. Like if I see, man, if I look on your social media or just anything, you're always working out. You're very consistent. I told Chrissy the other night, I said, watch this. I'm going to text John, and it's going to be like 2:30 in the afternoon, and I know exactly what time he's going to respond to me, because he's so regimented with what he does, and he protects his time and he protects his schedule, which is a discipline that I admire and I'm still working on. But number one, you lead by example every day. It'll be Sunday afternoon at 5 o'clock, and you'll have strobe lights on, laying in a pool of sweat from your bike ride. It's, Sunday when most people are laying on the couch watching the NFL, getting that last beer in before they got to go back to work. You're grinding, but that's motivating. It's exhilarating, and so being around people that set that example, and then you see it, you don't want to do anything but follow it, because that's what you want. Um, and so it's cool to watch people that have gone to the next level and next level like yourself, and how you manage everything and keep it balanced. And so, I know that was a random example, but I told Chris, I'm like, I know exactly what time he's going to text me back. And it doesn't, and I have a huge respect for that. And that's where I want to be, but it's cool to actually witness it and see it, because I know exactly what's going on. So many people want your attention for good reason. You have no other choice except for to lead by example and protect your time.
Mhm.
And I think the higher you go and the better you get, you've got to get around some John Kitchens, some Jay Kinder, some of those guys that
Yeah.
do that. I've learned a lot just from watching. So I just wanted to
Yeah. I
share
mean,
that.
no, I love that. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And, the thing is that we can, I think, what is it that wisdom comes from, learning from other people's experiences.
Mhm.
And so we can collapse time, not only us in the fight, trial and error, and learning the hard way, touching the hot stove a couple times, but also, just like you said, observing from it can be up close, it can be from afar, but really gaining, watching that and be like, I don't want to go down that path, and then you're just able to make better decisions. So it's really neat to be able to see and understand that it's okay, to that you can learn from others experiences is really key. So, man, I want to chat bourbon with you. You're kind of the bourbon aficionado, or whatever it is. Um, and you've graced me with some very nice bourbon. I greatly appreciate it. Yeah, let's talk bourbon a little bit.
Okay, okay. Well, so we've got this club locally, and it's me and my best friend from the Marine Corps. He and I have known each other since we were 18, and he happens to be a commercial agent in town, and a couple other local guys, and we have a bourbon club. And what we'll do is every week, every other week or however often our wives will let us, is we'll have three guys bring a different bourbon that they found, and we'll blind taste test those three bourbons, and we drink them neat, no ice, no nothing, straight neat, just little shot, not little shot, and taste through them. And we pick a favorite, and we shelf the favorite, and then once we're done with the taste test, we'll go to that shelf and pick our favorites, whatever it is. And so it's pretty cool. Like, I'll have people come up, "Hey man, I heard about your bourbon club. How do I get in there?" And I'm like, "You can't, man. You can't. It's our circle.
It's
Everybody's like,
society,
"What is
man.
your
You
bourbon
can't get
club?"
in.
So I never was really a bourbon aficionado
Uh,
until I met a few guys that kind of introduced me to. It's kind of like the difference between Milwaukee's Best Light and Mick Ultra. There's a difference in the taste, and there's one
yes.
you really want to drink, and there's one you don't. And bourbon's kind of the same way. You got that, dollar drink bourbon that they served you up in college because you didn't have it about $8 to go to the bar.
Uh-huh.
But then you got some high level bourbons that are hard to find, and you can get on, waiting list and liquor store list and everything, and they do auctions and all sorts of crazy stuff. But it's really cool to find a good bourbon that you can enjoy. And so when I do, I try to share one with you. So
I know, I appreciate it. And yeah, the just because you had turned me on to the Blantons and understanding, breaking down the horses and how every one of them's different and stuff like that. I was in Cleveland. I was at Al's, and he had just like this like tray. It just had random like wine deals and corks, and then there were all of the different horses from Blantons. I was like, he just has these sitting here, and he's got an incredible downstairs. He bought the house because of the downstairs and how they finished out the basement, and it's got a little wine cellar downstairs. And knowing the Blantons stuff, I got online while I was at his house, and I ordered him one of the cork barrel, the planks out of the barrel that you could stack all of the horses in.
Oh,
And
cool.
I ordered it right there. I didn't tell him, and it just showed up, and he's like, "Dude, did you send this to me?" I was like, "Hell yeah, I sent that to you. You can't just let those horses sit there in a tray in your kitchen. Get out of here. Get them downstairs in the wine cellar where they belong." And
Nice.
it's just cool little things, just little things like that. But if you hadn't talked to me about the Blanton story and all the different horses, and every one of them's a different letter, how they're kind of a collector. I'm on their email list. I get email almost every day from them, just all the cool stuff that they have. And
Nice.
it's pretty neat. What is so what's the bourbon of choice out of the bourbon club these days?
Blanton's or Weller. Everybody wants Blanton's and Weller. That's kind of the one. And I'll tell you, man, I was kind of heartbroken because the first kitchen table, you knew I liked bourbon, and you bought one that was local to Texas, I believe,
Uh-huh.
and they were going out of business. And I was like, man, this is one of the best bourbons I've tasted. And you're like, well, yeah, I hope you like it because they're going out of business. I was like, crap, man.
Yeah, yeah. The guy, yeah, he got himself in a bind, and so
Yep.
he went down. But yeah, it was good.
I need to meet that Albie cat, man. I think he and I are both hippies at heart. We'd probably jive all right. So
Uh-huh. Yeah, he'll get out he'll break out the bongos and start playing some bongos with you. So you can grab your guitar and jam with
right,
him a little bit.
right
So
on, right on.
it's so good. That's awesome. Gene, man, I really, really appreciate you coming on, sharing. I really wanted to kind of unpack, that big future. And I think that's a great example, for everybody listening in. If you guys are, on the hamster wheel and trying to get that next commission check just to, keep the lights on, know that ends when the bigger future begins. It's that, the whole another Dan Sullivan quote of, for your present to be your better, your future has to be bigger. And like I said, most real estate agents cannot think beyond their next commission check. And that's the vicious cycle that they will always stay in until they can get clear on a bigger future and a bigger vision. And you have it. And it's so inspiring. And, I really wanted to have you on, talk about it, to help get that message out there of what you're going to do, what you're going to accomplish, because people get excited about that. They want to get on board. They want to help. They want to be a part of that. that big picture, because they have similarities, right? They have their own personal vision that aligns and that inspires them. And it's really, really powerful.
Awesome. Well, I'm talking to the guy that instilled most of it in me, man. So I'm riding with you, brother, till you kick me out the car.
We're gonna enjoy that time on the beach. That's for sure.
For sure.
Awesome, man. Thanks, Gene. Thanks, guys. We'll catch you guys next time. See you.